Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. Oh shoot. Did you guys hear that? I can't be the only one that heard that. It's the sound of 1,000 18-year-olds stomping right onto campus right by my house.
Everybody, take cover!
No, I'm actually kidding. UK had its move-in week this past week, and while it is the most insane time, I just chose to not leave the house, which isn't very different than what I already do. But yes, college move-in is upon us. It is here. With the crispness that comes with fall, we get football, we get tailgates, and we get the absolute diabolical stories that come with young adults becoming adults right before our eyes. I myself chose to go the SEC route when it came to where I was going to get my schooling. And yes, it was as fun as you would think it is, but I have now grown to love financial stability and a healthy liver. That being said, I do know that there are some downsides to schooling, and I am super grateful that while I have some diabolical, absolutely insane stories about roommates or Greek life or all the things, maybe I'll share those one day, I know that things can be crazy. So there is a dark side to college, university, whatever, and I think we found it. Some of these are funny and lighthearted. Some of these are talks of plagiarism and, intersocial issues, all of the things that you would expect to come with moving in with someone you don't know, partying with people you've never met, and getting your life put into your own hands without ever really having to do that before. Obviously, not all of these people are freshmen. Some of them are more seasoned, but I'm still excited. In my last podcast episode, I read out this title, Me with My Daughter Accused of Plagiarism at University, and you guys wanted to hear exactly what that entailed. So I went down the rabbit hole. I wanted to do a university-based story time anyway, and boy oh boy, did Reddit hand it over on a silver platter. I think this might have to be like a multi-part series. Genuinely, I think we're gonna have to do multiple episodes just about the tomfoolery, the absolute insanity that is university. So let me know if you guys would want that. I've kind of been yapping a little bit, but before I jump in, don't forget to sign the petition that is linked down below. If you care about animals at all, and their rights and them being able to be seen as like living beings and not just objects, there's a petition link below. I go into all of the specifics about the laws I want to get passed, why this matters to me, and it's totally free. You don't have to live in the state of Kentucky to sign it. I do plan to push it at the federal level after we get Kentucky sorted out, but it would mean the world to me if you signed. Like I said, it takes like 1 second, totally free, and it will be the most important thing you ever do for me. And you can feel good about yourself because you're making a positive change by doing the easiest thing ever, genuinely just typing out your name. That's all you got to do to support it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these crazy college Reddit stories. I'm Grace Tori, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. As per usual, all of these have updates or some sort of conclusion. They are pretty much all from Best Redditor updates, or I 100% made sure they had an update. So you're welcome. I'm not going to leave you hanging. You know how we are in this channel. We never, ever, ever read a story that doesn't really have a conclusion because ain't nobody got time for that. Me, 51 female with my daughter, 19 female, daughter accused of plagiarism at university. Original post is from April 6, 2016. And was posted to r/relationships. My daughter has always been a good kid and a good student. She's in her first year of university, and like many of us, myself included, she found it overwhelming. She's been keeping up with the work and getting decent grades, but for a recent English essay, she Googled other people's ideas and pulled a few sentences from their work. Ooh. Her prof found out, and now she's facing a disciplinary hearing. She may just get an F on the essay, or she might fail the entire course. She won't know until the hearing. She won't know until the hearing, which won't be for a couple of weeks. She's freaking out, of course. She's never faced anything like this before. She's ashamed and frantic with worry. I guess I'd like to ask, has anyone here gone through something like this? How can I help her? Ooh, boy oh boy. I'm trying to not have my comments be super duper long because there's so many good stories, but some additional context. Your girl was kind of a goody two-shoes when it came to education. I was a TA and then I was a head TA, and I actually wanted to be a professor, but I dealt with freshmen and they just were like they were a-holes. There's no other way to put it. Like, they were such a-holes, and every single year they got worse. No offense if you are one. Obviously, there's always an exception to the rule, and that's probably you because you are, in fact, perfect. But yeah, because of that, I didn't end up going into it. I also interned in like the office for my major, so I know lots of ins and outs about this. I also got my master's, like, at plagiarism. Girl, I know all the rules. Not because I was doing it, of course, but because it was very plainly stated in every single syllabus. The university was very straightforward about it. Obviously, any sort of work taken from anyone, if it can be put, like, strewn together and proven that someone else said it first, you can get in trouble for plagiarism. Doesn't matter if it's one sentence. You can also actually get in trouble for plagiarizing yourself. So if you have any sort of published work or a previous essay, I know for me, my bachelor degrees are in science-based things, so we had to do research, which meant we had to write essays that were published. We had to do posters and all that. If I were to reference that later on, you would have to cite yourself. That's how crazy plagiarism laws are. And I can only imagine how much worse it is with AI, because they would put the paper through like this system, whatever, and it would come up with what percentage of like plagiarism it is. And obviously there's little things that may pop up, like one or two words here and there or whatever. But if it was over a certain percentage, it's like, ooh, bestie, we're in trouble here. But when it came to AI, I thankfully graduated right before that. I did my senior year during COVID, and then my master's was a 1-year program, so I like skirted out. But I can only imagine how insane it is, because as someone who is a writer and has always been a writer, I tend to write with em dashes. I was taught to write at the end of like the first paragraph of an essay. You say 3 things that you're going to talk about, and that can be like considered AI. Things that flag as AI are also simultaneously things that good writers do, like authors and things like that. So I can only imagine getting caught using AI, because it's kind of like on the same level of plagiarism, and not actually committing any sort of like AI, like you're just a good writer. So yeah, they don't mess around. I'm pretty sure if you got caught plagiarizing, that was grounds for expulsion. Like, that was a very likely possibility, because they don't mess with that. All that to say, I know that she's just a first year, and it can be hard when you probably could get away with stuff like that your younger years, like when you were writing in high school or secondary school. I'm not sure what the actual levels are called in Europe. I just know the US and very little. I think it's primary, secondary, university. Am I wrong? Can someone correct me? But in your earlier schooling, you could probably get away with using a sentence here or there or structuring it very similarly. I'm not saying it's right, but you may not have known better. And if you do something for so long and you don't get caught, you don't assume that it's wrong. So while it is technically wrong, you probably did it your whole life and didn't have any issues. So you assume like, oh, if I just did it here and there, I'm testing this boundary and I've never gotten a slap on the wrist, so it's fine. Which I can understand. Do I think that she's absolutely the devil? No. But I think that this is a lesson that I hope that she gets out of with minimal problems, and she moves on and can finish her schooling. Obviously, like, own up to it, be honest about it. And I think that it could be worse. Like, if it was a whole paragraph or something, it would be way worse. So good for her that it wasn't worse, but also she still effed up. Like, she still did something wrong, and there are going to be consequences. There is an edit. Thank you for all your comments and advice. Already told her to be contrite at her hearing and own up to what she did. My exact words were, don't be an a-hole about it. I'll also tell her to take her punishment, whatever it might be, and never do this again. I'll update after the hearing. I'm not going to read all of the relevant comments just because they're pretty much regurgitating everything I just said and agreeing with me. But if you want to read them, everything will be linked down below so that you can check them out. I just want to make sure we have time to get to all of these stories, or as many as we can. Here's the update, which is from 6 weeks later. First of all, I'd like to say that I goofed the title on the original post. She wasn't accused of plagiarism. That implies she didn't do it. She did do it. I'm glad that you are not sugarcoating it with her, because there are parents who try to fluff it and make it sound like their kid like didn't do anything wrong. Like, oh, you made an oopsie, but you're not in the wrong. Everybody does that. Like, ugh, I cannot stand when parents do that. She's fully an adult at the end of the day, and she effed up, and there are consequences from that. Like, and being straight up with her is gonna help her so much in the real world, because she's not gonna feel like she's owed grace that like she genuinely doesn't deserve. Like, she effed up, there's going to be a consequence. She told me a bit more about what had happened. While researching her paper, she took a bunch of notes, including some comments she'd found on the internet. She didn't cite her sources, big mistake, and when it came to write her paper, she mixed up what she'd found online and what she'd come up with on her own. Okay, that's a bit more innocent, because I've done that too. Pro tip, I've learned to write the source of wherever you're getting it from at the top of the notebook page. Bookmark it on your computer so you can come back to it. And then anything that you write exactly what they said, put it in quotes. Because like right now, I am researching quantum physics for my fantasy book that I'm writing. And I don't necessarily understand what these research papers are saying. I'm trying to really dig into it so I have a good foundation of exactly what it is, since it's like a big part of my book. But I don't know much about physics. So I have been writing exactly what they put in research paper, but you have to put it in quotes. And that's how I differentiate that from like my own notes. So if you are going through schooling or you're someone who is constantly researching, I recommend doing that. And then if you like don't end up needing it, you can clean out your bookmarks later, but it helps you know what is your own words and what isn't. So hopefully she learned something like that going forward. She had a meeting with an advocate who prepared her for what the hearing would entail. She was warned that the most common punishment was to receive an F on the paper and an F on the course. So she was prepared for that. There were still some classes remaining before the hearing would occur, plus the final exam. She attended all of the classes, studied her butt off for the final, and did her very best on it. She had her hearing last week. She did what I'd recommended, and a lot of you recommended, explained what happened but didn't try to make excuses. The prof was very understanding and heard what she had to say. The prof commented that it reflected well on my daughter that she continued to attend class and write the final. Many would have said, the heck with it, I'm going to fail anyway, and not bothered to show up. Daughter found out last night that she'll receive an F on the paper, which was worth 15% of her final grade, but not on the course. The prof had told her that she did very well in the course overall, so she's hoping that means she'll still pass the course. The prof has drummed it into her that she made a very dumb mistake and things won't go nearly as well for her if she does it again. So I think and hope she's learned her lesson here. Thanks for all of your comments and help. Top comment from Best of Reddit. Gotta say, after reading so many Reddit posts about absolutely horrendous parent-child relationships, it's nice to see a mom nailing it with her parenting and a kid who trusts her mom enough to be open with her about this whole mortifying process. Glad it worked out for them. And I agree. I don't think that this could have gone any better. I think that a lot of times people assume that college is way more black and white with these rules. But if you don't understand something, communicate with your professors. Yeah, the deadline is this date, but if you say to them, hey, I'm really struggling, or hey, I have to have surgery or some sort of thing, they are willing to help you as long as you are doing well in the course or you're trying. Like, even online, if you are showing up to class, taking notes, studying, they notice. Sometimes if you're in like a 300-person lecture, it can be harder, but they do notice 99% of the time. And if you come to them with an issue, they are willing to help you. But if you're a jerk face, or you haven't been going to class, or you haven't made an effort, you haven't reached out to them, and then suddenly it's the final and you can't fail the class and you're scrambling to reach out, they notice and they're not as willing to help you. You just have to be a good person, and then they'll in turn be a good person as well. They do have some leeway in what happens most of the time. As a first year, you are going to learn some hard truths, and this is just unfortunately one of them. Did you guys see? So the coffee shop I go to all the time, I met this guy who's also a regular, and he's an older gentleman, and I don't know how true this is. I have not looked up any of it, but I do trust him because he's a nice older gentleman. And he had said that in Michigan, I think let's actually Google it real quick. Basically, University of Michigan won't use letter grades for some freshmen this fall semester. And the way that he explained it to me, because again, I didn't do like a ton of research. He did the research because he's from there and he's interested in it. He's actually like still in school, which I think is really admirable. Good for this man. But he was explaining that basically they don't want to give letter grades to freshmen because they're still acclimating to their new environment. So they're just not going to get grades their first semester, which leads to a lot of questions, in my opinion. Like, well, are they just not going to go to class because their attendant grade is usually a big portion of your grade and that doesn't matter? Are they just not going to do their homework? Because for me, I got like 1 or 2 D's in my entire college career, and I had a scholarship where I had to have a 3.6 GPA or above, and I think I graduated with like a 3.8, even though I got 2 D's. And I just feel like at some point, when are we gonna treat adults like they're adults? Like, in my opinion, university, college, whatever, is the training wheels that we have them on. Like, we have them living in a place, more often than not, obviously it's a choice, but they're living in a dorm where they have an RA who is basically like an older brother or sister that helps them if they need it. They are in gen ed classes where professors know that they're freshmen and they're treated differently than like a 400 level course. They already do have a lot of grace. And on top of that, like, failing is part of learning. Like, if they just don't have any sort of consequences, why are we is that counting towards their transcript? I don't know. Maybe I have like an old school way of thinking, but at one point we have to draw the line and be like, yo, you got to be responsible for yourself and your actions. Like, that's just, it's insane to me. I found that out, and I can go on that tangent, but I'm not going to. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not woke enough, but I was just like, that's insane. What is happening? So, I don't know. Look into that if you want. University of Michigan, you can Google it, do your own research. Again, I did not look into it a lot, but I thought that was insane. Also, so you're paying for a semester that you're not going to be graded on. Does that, what are we doing? Are we getting like some sort of discount? Like, sorry, that's a tangent. We're not going to go on it. My 18 female friend, 22 male, won't stop calling me a teetotaler. Teetotaler. New word unlocked.
Teetotaler.
That's how you pronounce it. I thought she was trying to say tattletale. Nope. A teetotaler is a person who completely involuntarily avoids drinking all types of alcohol. So, the more you know. I didn't mind it until today when he left 3 bottles of vodka outside of my dorm room door. All right. Original post is from May 22nd, 2016, and was posted to r/relationships. Throwaway because some of my friends know my real username and I don't want them to see this. Also, I'm sorry if this is messy. All of this just happened and I'm still disturbed. I don't drink alcohol because I don't like the taste and because I don't find being drunk appealing. Simple enough, right? I don't judge or berate people who drink, and everyone I met at college has treated me with the same respect. Same, honestly. Like, every once in a while I'll get like a very fruity, sweet cocktail, but I don't drink. Josh doesn't drink. It's just not really our thing. Like, don't get me wrong. You can get me in certain situations and I will go balls to the wall, but I'm usually the mom who DDs. So I understand. Like, there doesn't have to be a reason. You don't have to have a reason not to drink or do any sort of thing you don't want to. You shouldn't feel pressured. It's not your thing, it's not your thing. You don't have to have like an insane, crazy, traumatic story for it. At the beginning of spring semester, this kid named Dylan came back to his speech team that I belonged to after spending the fall semester studying abroad. He was a senior. During the fall semester, the other seniors didn't throw any speech team bonding parties, and when Dylan learned this, he started throwing parties every weekend. I went to the first few, but eventually I stopped going because everyone got really obnoxious. At the first party, Dylan called me over to take shots. When I explained to him that I don't drink, he scoffed and kept pressuring me to do it. He didn't stop until another senior on the team stepped in to tell him to leave me alone. He apologized and never pressured me again. I still went to the next few parties because I loved spending time with the team, but eventually everyone's behavior got to be too much. Dylan was no longer pressuring me to drink, but he kept calling me a teetotaler. He never used it in a way that got under my skin, otherwise I would have told him to stop. He just kept referring to me as the teetotaler, both when he was talking to me and when he was talking to other people. It made our team members angry, and even though I told them it wasn't a big deal, they were still pissed at Dylan. This was when I stopped going to his parties. I didn't want to deal with neither my team members nor Dylan in their arguments about an issue that honestly didn't bother me, especially because they only argued when they were drunk and consequently were getting absolutely nowhere. After I stopped going to his parties, Dylan started talking to me more. During practice, he would partner with me and help me write my speeches, and I improved so much this semester because of him. He even started to hang out with me outside of speech team. We got lunch together. He helped me study. We're in the same major. He became a friend that I trusted and genuinely liked. He still called me a teetotaler whenever he got the chance to, even when alcohol was obviously not within the context, but it was clear that he was just teasing me. I have a thick skin, so it doesn't bother me when people tease me for not drinking. For me, personally, I'd rather be sober than passed out on the floor at a frat party. Most people who tease me for not drinking end up in that situation. So yeah, I only have an issue when people pressure me to drink, which Dylan did once and then never did again, and he did apologize and he seemed sincere. So for a while, I was okay with being friends with him. Then today, when I got to my dorm room, I found 3 bottles of vodka lined up outside of it. The one in the middle had a red bow tied on the neck. Taped to the bow was a note that said, "Winky face, heart, dash, D." Instantly, I started panicking. I didn't know when they got there, how long they'd been there, or how many people saw them sitting there. I left early this morning and I came back just now. It's 8-ish, so I have literally no time frame to work with. I grabbed the bottles and put them in my mini fridge. I know it was Dylan. Who else could it have been? Even though he graduated a few days ago, he must still be on campus. Plus, he knows that I'm staying here for the summer and he knows where my dorm room is. I'm extremely creeped out. I've never had any romantic feelings for Dylan. I only see him as a friend. Clearly, he feels differently, but why would he feel the need to put 3 bottles of vodka outside my dorm room door to show me that? That's super effing weird. Especially because I'm living on school property and I could get in gigantic trouble for this. No school authorities have contacted me yet, so I'm guessing that nobody important saw it, but I'm still wary. I don't want to be friends with Dylan anymore, but I should talk to him and figure out why he did this. I want to know why, but I know it isn't always best for people to know the reasons behind things like this. If I should talk to him, what should I say? Also, what should I do with the vodka? Any suggestions, barring drink it, are welcome. This sucks. I wonder, because I'm trying to, like, give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, maybe he was cleaning out his fridge when he was moving out and he found them and he was just like, oh, it'd be so funny if I just, like, left these outside of her dorm room, ha ha ha, and, like, wasn't thinking about it. But I'm assuming you have, like, a very strict no alcohol in the dorms law, so you could get kicked out, and I understand that being a big deal. Being a bad joke, like a tasteless joke, and doing something that could get you kicked out are two very different things. And he could he have just not been thinking? Like, I don't think he did it to be an absolute a-hole. I think it was just in poor taste, and he was not thinking about, like, you or what makes you comfortable. He was just like, oh, I need to get rid of this, and this is a convenient place. I could have read into that wrong, but no matter what, like, he is in the wrong, and he shouldn't be pressuring you. He shouldn't be, pushing in it. I'm glad he didn't in all that time in between, but it's weird he did now. Maybe he thought it was, like, some weird inside joke. I don't know. Edit. So I've calmed down now. I dumped the vodka down the sink and threw the bottles away. I haven't talked to Dylan yet. No one from my school has contacted me yet. To elaborate a bit more on Dylan as a person, because now I can think straight, he loves to drink and get crap-faced. That's why he was so upset that the seniors on the speech team didn't throw any parties last semester, and it's why he kept pressuring me to drink at his first party. He is also very flirty with everyone meaning all the girls he knows. He's flirty with me even though I never flirt back. He's flirty with his female friends unless they have boyfriends. He's flirty with girls he meets at parties. He hooks up whenever he gets the chance. In terms of pressuring girls to do things with him, I've never seen it happen, but one time a guy in the speech team was trying to take advantage of a girl while she was drunk at one of Dylan's parties, and Dylan stepped in, yelled at him, and asked him to leave. So he seems to care about consent. If he didn't, I certainly wouldn't have been friends with him for so long. Neither of these parts of his personality crossed my mind that much until now. I don't think he's an a-hole, just creepy. His flirtatious behavior flattered me, but because he behaves that way with everyone, I didn't think anything of it. That's clearly not true anymore, though. I know that I should have included all this when I originally posted, and I'm sorry that I didn't. I was in panic mode. I was honestly very disturbed. I was thinking all of this when I originally posted, but it never made its way into the post, and that's my fault. I hope my edit makes everything more clear. So, top comment, I wouldn't read this as a romantic gesture, honestly, but rather an idiotic continuation to a stupid joke as a graduation gift. That's what I was thinking too. Some people who drink see those who don't as actively passing judgment on their choices and have a problem with that. These people are morons, but they definitely exist. Sounds like Dylan falls squarely into this category. I'd just text him and tell him that everyone on your floor really enjoyed his leaving present and suggest he asks what they'd like next time he's feeling so generous. On the off chance that this was a romantic gesture, which again, I'm 99% sure it wasn't, this will make it clear you read it as buddies. On the other hand, if this was one last dig at your teetotalism, this will show him you're still cool with other people drinking while making a different choice for yourself. Plus, it'll make it clear that he wasted his money, which will hopefully hurt at least a bit. I really like that because I was thinking, and I'm like, he sounds like one of those people who parties so much, cares so much about, like, his reputation, kind of out of weird that he, like, stands up for people, but then, like, gave you alcohol. That's why, like, what? I don't know. It sounds like he's one of those people that's very much, like, down for anything and is, like, JK, you know, like, he's, like, flirts with you and then he's like, JK, 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 like, just kidding. Unless, you know, he sounds like one of those. I would say that and see where it goes. Honestly, as shitty as it sounds, he's probably gonna, like, phase out and then you're not gonna be friends for much longer. If he's, like, that much older than you and he's graduating, like, there's very few people that we are still friends with where there's that much of an age gap, and I really cherish those friendships. Like, those are people who genuinely mean so much to me. But, like, acquaintances like this that aren't, like, best friends, it's probably gonna phase out. It sounds like it. I'm sorry if that's, like, very blunt. Here's an update. I'm back with an update. Thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. I appreciate it very much. I woke up the morning after I originally posted to find a text from Dylan. It was sent at 3:47 a.m., so pretty late. It said, "Did you get my present?" with a bunch of winky faces and laughing emojis. It also looked like gibberish. What I typed out here is what I think he was trying to say, and that was after looking at it for a few minutes. I think he was drunk when he texted me. I texted back, "Yes, I got it, and my floor really enjoyed it. What are you gonna get them the next time you're feeling generous?" He didn't respond. A little while later, my RA knocked on my door and asked to talk to me. She said that she'd seen 3 bottles of vodka outside my door the day before and asked me where they went. I told her they were given to me by a friend and that because I don't drink, I poured the vodka down the drain and threw the bottles away. When she heard that, she walked down the hall to the trash cans, which hadn't been emptied yet, and she found the bottles. I left the note and the bow on the one bottle. When she saw them, she didn't say anything for a few seconds and then told me that because I haven't been problematic before, she wasn't going to report me. She said that she knows I don't drink and that she thought it was very unlikely that I kept the bottles, but she just wanted to be sure. I thanked her and went back to my room. I'm happy she was so understanding. Great RA. Love that. Love that. I do want to leave a note next time. Maybe take a picture of the bottles in the trash or keep the bottles just in case they would have been emptied. I want you to make sure you're covered. Hopefully there's not a next time, but if you're listening to this, just saying, because, like, you could get kicked out. Or, like, maybe they're on, like, a 3-strike system. I don't know. It all depends on your RA and how nice they are. About an hour after I talked to my RA, someone knocked on my door. It was Dylan. As soon as he walked in, I could tell that he was drunk. I don't know if you can wake up drunk from having been drunk the night before, but it seemed like Dylan was experiencing that. Or maybe he was drinking early in the morning. Either way, it was clear that he'd been drinking. He asked me why I gave the bottles to the people on my floor. It was only meant for you, he said. I told him that he knows I don't drink and asked him what the F he was thinking putting 3 bottles of vodka outside my door in a school dorm where I could get in huge trouble for alcohol possession, especially because I'm underage. He started laughing his head off. It was a joke, he said. Oh, yeah, no. He's one of those. He's exactly who I thought he was. I angrily told him that I didn't find it funny because it could have gotten me in serious trouble. He kept laughing until I said, I don't mind you calling me a teetotaler, but what you did really creeped me out, and it's grounds for not being friends anymore. My phone is out of space, so I had to move you guys over to my iPad. Sorry about the weird angle. Subscribe, follow, hype to contribute to my camera replacement fund, because she is toast. I've been trying, and she's just not coming back together, and your girl can't afford a new camera, so here we are, we're working with what we got. Back to the story. When he heard this, he stopped laughing and looked at me for longer than a few seconds. It was turning into a stare. I asked him why he was looking at me like that, and he just said it was a joke before he started cracking up again. At that point, I decided that I was getting nowhere, so I asked him to leave. He started to protest, but when I told him that I would tell my RA if he didn't leave, he left pretty quickly. That is one thing about RAs. Like, they may be kind of annoying when you're doing something you don't want them to find out about, but when you need, like, I'm gonna tell my mom, that's who you tell. He came back again that night around 9 p.m. When I opened the door, he asked me if he could come in. Surprisingly, he seemed sober, so I said yes. After I let him in, he apologized for making me so angry, but he admitted that the only thing he remembered about this morning was that I was super pissed at him and he wanted to know why. I reminded him that he left 3 bottles of vodka outside my door when I live in a school dorm. He kind of had an, oh yeah, shit, look on his face when I told him this. He apologized and said it was really stupid of him to do and that it was a dumb joke. He asked me where my RA was. If she hasn't talked to you yet, I'll tell her I gave them to you, he said. I assured him that my RA already talked to me. I'm not in trouble. She knows they weren't mine. He seemed relieved to hear that. I asked him if he was drunk when he put the bottles in front of my door. He said, maybe. And then he laughed. He said he put them there in the evening, so they weren't sitting there for more than a few hours. I did some thinking then. He was drunk when he put the bottles there. He was probably drunk when he wrote the note with the heart and the winky face. Because of that, I didn't mention the note. Also, the fact that he was drunk this morning and that he couldn't remember why I was angry at him this morning seemed like red flags to me. I brought this up and said, I'm kind of worried about you, which I am. This is the truth. You drink way more than is normal, even for a partying college senior. You should be careful, you know. He laughed it off and said it wasn't a big deal. I pressed on and said, you're at the right age to stop this now. I don't want you to turn into an alcoholic. He laughed again and made, "Aw, the little teetotaler cares about me" type jokes. I got frustrated at this and asked, why do you even drink so much anyway? He stopped laughing and looked kind of puzzled for a few seconds. His response was that it makes everything easier. I asked him to elaborate. He then looked somewhat uncomfortable and didn't make eye contact with me. I told him that if he drinks this much and it's because it makes everything easier for him, that's not a good sign. He shrugged and said nothing still. I guess all this time everyone has assumed that he just drinks a lot because he's another moronic college student and no one has ever asked him exactly why he drinks so much. That, combined with the fact that he's always extra flirty when he's drunk, made me more concerned. He's flirty when he's sober too, but he never actually takes it further unless he's drunk, at least from what I've seen and heard. He asked me why I was being so quiet. I asked, have you ever done anything seriously romantic with a girl, like telling her you like her or asking her out while you were sober? He gave me an apprehensive look, but then said, no, not really. I asked him what he meant, and for the next half hour, he talked to me about his experience with girls. I learned that he's never had a serious girlfriend, just flings. He carries out most of his romantic interactions while he's drunk because he feels stupid doing it when he's sober. By the end of this conversation, I told him that if he ever wants to do anything seriously romantic with someone else beyond just hooking up, it can't be tied to being drunk because that isn't a good way to start off a healthy relationship. Girl, you're spitting facts and you're like 4 years younger than him, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, liquid courage can be nice in those situations, but it's like, I don't know. I can't say anything. I was drunk when I met my boyfriend. And then the next night, I was drunk when I hung out with him for the first time. But in my defense, he lived in the frat party house. So it was just like, hey, bro, you know, funny seeing you here. I'm not a good, do as I say, not as I do. Then he said, I know. That's why I want to tell you now that I like you. Oh, mic drop. I froze upon hearing this. I wasn't expecting him to be so forward. When he saw how comfortable I was, he quickly said, what? What is it? When I still didn't say anything, he said that if I don't feel the same way, that's okay. If he made me uncomfortable just now, he was really sorry. He said that he just figured that he should tell me this now while he was sober. I told him I wasn't interested in him that way. He looked disappointed, but he said that it was okay. I told him that he really needs to get help for his developing drinking problem, or what is already a drinking problem, and although he didn't say anything to that, he looked like he was thinking about it. Things were then kind of awkward for a few seconds until he asked me why I thought he put the bottles there. I admitted that I thought it was a romantic gesture and that because of that, it creeped me out. He burst out laughing. First, he apologized for creeping me out. Then he said that if it was going to be romantic, he would at least give me wine, not vodka. He added that if he was going to try to be romantic in general, he wouldn't take the alcohol approach, considering that I don't drink at all. We joked around a bit more, and soon the conversation turned to other things. Eventually, we said goodbye, and he left. I didn't expect things to turn out this way, but I was relieved to hear that the bottles were just a joke, especially because he was drunk when he did it. He even offered to talk to my RA for me, which I think was a good sign. I'm also satisfied that I had the opportunity to bring up his drinking problem to him. It really seemed like no one else has ever brought it up to him before, which is sad, but at least it happened now. As for him having feelings for me, now that I know the bottles were a joke, I feel less creeped out. I think the fact that he was drunk while he did it, and that he didn't mention the note, and that he can only do serious romantic things with girls when he's drunk, point to him being socially awkward more than anything else. I agree. It might be like a confidence thing too. Like he might just not feel confident or have like self-esteem and need that extra push to feel good, you know? Which is sad, but then there, buddy, I think that we all probably have had a lack of like self-esteem in one way or another, and can empathize with that at least, like wishing you could have something to boost it. And for a lot of people, that's what alcohol is, and it can be a slippery slope. And because of that, I'm no longer seriously uncomfortable. I no longer think that he was trying to get in my pants, or even if he wasn't trying to anymore. He literally said that he wanted to tell me that he likes me while he was sober. All this time, he might have been telling girls that he likes them while he was drunk, and it always ended badly. so we decided to do things differently this time around. Who knows? But I didn't tell him that don't want to be friends. I'm still thinking about it, just that I'm not romantically interested. I know that I said I don't want to be friends with him anymore when I originally posted, but that was when I was freaking out before all this happened, so I hope that some of you understand why I'm still mulling it over. Also, just to reiterate, him calling me a teetotaler doesn't bother me at all. The only things that bothered me were him pressuring me to drink, which he did once and then never did again, and then him putting the bottles in front of my door, which turned out to be a joke that he apologized for. If him calling me a teetotaler bothered me, or if it felt derogatory to me, I would have told him to stop. It never feels that way to me. It never feels like a joke or friendly teasing, both of which I don't mind. I understand and appreciate the concerns of the speech team and of some people who commented on my original post, but honestly, it's not a big deal. That's all I have. Thank you for helping me out. And in bold, there's an edit, so I'm going to read that before we get into our thoughts. Edit. Just wanted to add, I'm not an idiot, as some of you seem to believe. It's not like I think Dylan's apologies and the story behind his alcoholism make me think he's an A-okay guy that deserves to be trusted. I never told him that I want to be friends, and I never said that I still wanted to be his friend. Just that I was thinking about it. Obviously, I've decided to keep my distance from him now after reading all of these comments, but just because I'm 18 and Dylan is 22 doesn't mean that I'm not aware of the senior guy preying on freshman girl scenario. I don't live under a rock, people. I appreciate the concern everyone has for me, but please keep comments about me being naive to yourself. And not only on this post, but all other r/relationships. Because I read the sub regularly, and comments that personally target the OP without offering any advice only drive them away when they came here for help. Girl, you are like wise beyond your years. Like, you have already learned the lessons that some people will learn in college. Like, there's a lot of things that you're gonna avoid, like a lot of hurt and such, because you have such a good head on your shoulders. I'm not gonna lie, Dylan did grow on me. Do I trust him necessarily? No, but the good news is he's graduating. I don't know if you go to a school where it's like everybody lives there and stays there and dies in that town, or if you have a lot of people who go there and then like graduate and then leave. Regardless, I think that you can still be friendly and distance yourself from him. And I think that that would be like a very natural step to take, and it wouldn't feel like super weird. And then you can just like phase him out if you decide you don't want a relationship of any capacity with him. Because like you said, there is like that stereotype of senior guy, freshman girl, and it is like weird. And he's about to be hit with reality. Like, college is so fun. It gives you a place where everybody is the same age as you or around the same age, and you can drink and do all these crazy things. And you have a sense of safety because you're on like a campus, like everybody's in a safe-ish place. Not that like all college campuses are safe, but compared to like the real world, of course, bad things still happen. Nuance, bring back nuance, guys, but it feels safer. So, where was I even going with that? I know I had a point, but I forgot where I was going with that. I don't know. I'm so sorry, guys. Hopefully you took something from that. Like, I was gonna like put an exclamation point on that with something, and I forgot what it was. So I guess we'll just keep on trucking. Yeah, keep them at arm's length, no matter what. I think that you can phase them out if you keep them at arm's length, and then it doesn't have to be a big thing. Top comment from Best Redditor is, college was fun, but holy shit, was I surrounded by a-holes. LOL. And that's so true. Like, the amount of people that you're around just by circumstance, and then like you graduate and it's like, oh, you're kind of a bad person. Ooh, ooh, is crazy. This is going to be a long episode, so I hope you guys are ready. Buckle up. I think that we are going to read one more, and then we'll do another college episode, if not the next episode, fairly soon, while we're on our college train. Because I had so many stories that we haven't even got to. Like, guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's read this one. This is fun and short and fresh. Me, 19 male, with my roommates, college-age male-female of 3 months. They adopted a puppy and are furious it is bonded with me. Original post was October 25th, 2015 in r/relationships. I, 19 male, live in a 5-bedroom apartment with a brother-sister pair and 2 other random female roommates. The 2 other girls are not really relevant to this situation. We all attend college together and range from freshmen to juniors. Basically, they adopted a puppy, all 5 of us agreed, and we're fine with it. They told us they would take care of the puppy and have stayed true to that. They walk, feed, play with, and are currently obedient training. They are the only ones who give the puppy treats, and none of us feed the puppy human food. The issue is the puppy, Lucy, has bonded with me. My first dog's name was Lucy. Oh, she has a very special place in my heart. She passed away way too soon, and I refer to her as my guardian angel. So, whew, okay, back into the story. I walk in the room, and she runs up super excited and does not do this for anyone else. It licks me, also something it doesn't do to anyone else. Lucy follows me around whenever I'm in the apartment, never leaving my side unless I close my room door or she's sleeping. I do play with Lucy when I'm home, but only if no one else is playing with her and she wants attention. I always defer to owners if they want to play with Lucy. However, they're upset at me. They don't understand why Lucy pays so much attention to me, even when there are other people around. They want me to try and break the bond Lucy has with me. I tried to ignore her when she gets excited when I get home and stuff like that, but I don't know what else to do. I also don't feel like it's my fault Lucy's bonded with me. I can't control her. I know she isn't my dog at night. She sleeps in blank owner's bed. The dude. I guess my question is, how do we resolve this? I am more worried about calming owners down than I am about Lucy giving me attention. My other roommate has a we're staying out of this attitude. Lucy's chosen. There's nothing you can do. She's going off vibes. Sorry, you can't tell her to change her vibes. Change it. You can't. I mean, you're doing everything you can. And that was just the gamble of getting a pet in college. Because I lived with roommates, and it was kind of yeah, they got a dog, but it was may the best woman win, because whoever that dog bonded with, who cares? My Evie, my sweet Evie, I got her, and I lived with my best friend and a few other people. She was like a daughter to my best friend. And when Evie unexpectedly passed away, I actually texted my friend and I was like, I want you to know that this happened. Obviously, she's my best friend, so I was telling her anyway, because I'm like, please help me. I don't know what to do. I'm so heartbroken. But I also was like, you deserve to know, because we lived together for years and she was yours too. Because she has said on multiple occasions, I view her like my dog too. She was my daughter. And I had no problem with that, because yeah, Evie was an a-hole, and I knew that she would go to whoever was giving her attention. She was not the most loyal in that capacity, but at the end of the day, she rode for me, and that was my best friend. And I think that you just have to have a lighthearted approach. I mean, our bunnies, I rescued them, okay? I saved them from everything. 2 of them were in hoarding situations, and I got them from a rescue, and they're living lavish now. 2 of them I found on the side of the road, and it took me hours in the freezing cold to catch them. Tell me why they love Josh more than me. He doesn't feed them. He doesn't slave over them. He doesn't spend hours cleaning their litter boxes, cleaning their rugs. No, but they adore him. I haven't, have I said, guys, what the heck, man? Yeah, but it just motivates me to try a little harder. I don't know how, but I can't help it. I'm not going to be mad at Josh that they chose him. I know that he's not doing anything. He's definitely not doing anything for the bunnies, because he thinks that they're, icky. He loves hanging out with them, but they are ultimately my responsibility to clean up after. And he helps when I ask him to, but he's not going out of his way, is what I mean. So, yeah, the animal's chosen. It is what it is. Let's read the update. Obviously, everybody's saying it's irrational for them to be upset with you in the comments. Lucy's chosen. You gotta accept it. But this is the very short update. Let's start by saying that went horribly. My lovely roommates offered to gift me Lucy because she likes me so much. I don't have the time to own a dog or the funds to care for a dog. I told them no, and they aren't happy. That was 2 days after the original update, and that was October 27, 2015, so I fear we're not going to get another update of what happened to Lucy. That's not great. I hope that she's in, a good home. Let's read the top best Redditor comment. What a miserable update. I hope Lucy is with a loving home. It's alarming how fast they want to give her up in the update for bonding with someone else. She's an animal. She's not being malicious or picky. Animals are family, period. Don't have them otherwise. I hated all this. I hate that it's conclusive and done. I agree. This was meant to be a lighthearted, silly, goofy thing. And yeah, it's true. Animals don't have ulterior motives. Maybe they do if they're really on some BS, but 99% of the time they are straight with you. They're honest with you. You don't have to guess where you stand with them. And she's going off vibes. And I love that for Lucy. I hope that she is good. She would be 11 now. So I hope she's with a loving family, maybe on a farm with a lot of land, and she didn't have to go through too much to get there. I do have one little story to end us on. My best friend, the one that I mentioned who loves Evie, she's allergic to fleas. So she and I moved into this house with another girl that we were friends with, and then another girl that we were friends with. And we were like, one girl, we were all three really close, and then the other one, my best friend was only close with. The one that all three of us were close, she decided to adopt a cat. And she had like brought it up, and we're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, both of us have dogs, so it has to be okay with dogs, but we're not gonna tell you can't have a pet when we have pets. And I also had a bunny, so I was like, that's fine as long as it doesn't mess with my bunny. That was the end of that conversation though. She randomly, like on a whim, got this cat. Didn't really like say any follow up, whatever. My best friend and I are both also huge animal people, so we're big on like quarantining once you get a new animal, making sure everything is set up, research has been done. We're not doing anything on a whim when it comes to an animal because that is a living being. Like, you're not bringing in a toy, like, whatever. So she bought the cat. I'm pretty sure she's had cats before. I can't remember. This was a while ago. And the cat had fleas. Yeah, it did. And it had some sort of like sickness. Like, it was like coughing and stuff. And like, I know cats and dogs are not the same, so they can't always like, you know, give off diseases, but they can get fleas. And I wasn't gonna like test that theory. My sunshine baby Evie was my baby. And then my best friend had like a geriatric chihuahua that came to visit often, and like, we didn't want him getting sick. He was like 1 pound. And so the flea thing was not good because, again, my friend was like very allergic to fleas. We had carpet, and my bathroom that I shared with this girl is where the cat ended up staying. And I was the one who ended up like giving the cat like a bath of some sort, and like cleaning to make sure the fleas don't get out, and like keeping everybody separated, because she genuinely was just like having anxiety attacks and panic attacks and being like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And it's like, that's great, but like, now I'm responsible for cleaning up this mess, and like, I didn't sign up for that. So long story short, she ended up moving out with the cat, and we managed to not get fleas, but it was insane. It was crazy. Please, please, please make sure you're quarantining your animals, and like all of your roommates are on the same page, because like that pretty much like ruined our friendship, just because it was like, this is really inconsiderate, and like, now like that you did something wrong, you're still like not owning up to it. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. But yeah, I hope that she is doing well despite that, and I hope the cat was older, so I'm not sure it's still around, but I hope it is. I hope he's doing well, he recovered, and all is well. I wish no ill will towards anybody. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, that's what we're gonna end it on. I love you guys so, so much. Please don't forget to sign that petition. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, all the engagement things. Hit that hype button if you're on YouTube on a mobile device. It's available for the first week or so. I'm a very small channel, so this pushes it to people who may not see it otherwise. I would greatly appreciate it. I love you guys so much. And that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys later. I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday, so that would be Wednesday. Okay, bye guys. Love you.